Today I'm going to be talking about metabolism and energy requirements again, and also tips on boosting and improving your metabolism. I did one other podcast on this before, so if you haven't watched that one yet, I would suggest you go and watch that one first. So I think I called it Metabolism Part 1, knowing that this episode would be very long and I can break it up. Welcome to the Breakthrough the Bullshit podcast. I am your host, Alice Round. I am pumped to have you here. We are going to really strip back all of the bullshit surrounding nutrition, training, fad diets, everything in the industry, so that we can give you education to get the best possible results. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and let's go through all this bullshit. And so in saying that, I just want to give you guys a little bit of an update. And I will be running a new camp and seminar in May. So I'm just looking at dates at the moment. But if you are interested, then shoot me an email to alice@aliceround.com. And I'm just deciding at the moment whether we split nutrition and training or whether people would prefer it to be a whole day. So if you want to email me suggestions of what you would prefer, whether you'd prefer to do one whole day camp or split, say, nutrition and training over like a Saturday and Sunday. So that is where I'm at with that. So let's get on to talking about metabolism. So the other episode I kind of explained what metabolism is, went through all the background, and now in this one I'm actually going to talk about ways that you can boost your metabolism, a bit more about the reverse dieting process and everything in between. So as we know, slow metabolism basically means that your body is less efficient at chemical breakdown. It runs on a lot less energy, and your caloric output to, say, maintain a day-to-day function activity tends to be less, and in the return you tend to then store more body fat if you have an excessive caloric intake. So a fast metabolism, on the other hand, it means that the body's really efficient at chemical breakdown, and that body requires more energy expenditure to run on a day-to-day. So even just in meetings and walking around, they actually need more energy expended to do those day-to-day tasks than someone else with a slow metabolism, which generally will mean less body fat storage or a leaner body composition, or they can eat more food, and those people are bastards. So basically there's a couple of different body types, and that's a big part of it. Now when I say body types, what I mean by that is the position you're in today. I don't 100% agree in like somatotyping and like you're an ecto and you're an endo and you're a meso. That does not mean that's your be-all and end-all. It just kind of is the way you're looking at that time, which maybe might affect what sort of macronutrient split you're going to intake. But in terms of, it doesn't mean you're stuck like that forever is what I'm trying to say. You can change your body type and you can change your metabolism and you can make changes. Don't believe that you're stuck looking or feeling one way for the rest of your life. So in terms of metabolism, today I'm going to run through 15 signs that you might have a sluggish metabolism. So if you have a pen or paper handy, I would suggest grabbing that, your notes in your phone, whatever it is. I'll give you a second to do that, or pause the podcast now so that you can tick off on this list if you are someone that is in fear that maybe your metabolism is a little bit sluggish. So I'm going to keep this podcast short and sweet today. I'm going to get straight into it. All right, so these are my top 15 signs that I look at kind of with clients when I'm seeing whether or not they have a sluggish metabolism. So number one is that their weight has plateaued and they haven't made drastic weight loss in a long period of time on pretty low calories. Now for women, I generally say low in terms of caloric intake for someone that's training. For a girl, generally speaking, if they're on anything like 1500 or below for an extended period of time and they're training. For a guy, anywhere around the 2000 mark and under, and I'm saying that over time. Now, if you're someone that's sedentary and you don't train, but you're just sitting on 1500 calories all day, every day, that's not as bad. That's not what I would say, is metabolic adaptation. It's more like someone who's training 6, 7, 8 times a week, been on 1200 calories for the last 6 months, and their weight has not changed and or they've increased in body fat. So that's the first big sign. Number 2 is mood swings. So someone that is always dieting, always training, very moody, someone that maybe really struggle to handle stress. So stress has a massive impact on them. They really struggle to understand it and deal with it. They have dry skin, brittle nails, and hair is a big one. So your nails are really like easily broken. They don't grow very fast. Same with your hair, same with your skin. Acne can be even another one. You have quite a poor digestive system and a lot of allergens to food. So you're really sensitive to certain things. Foods make you either bloated or just gain weight very quickly, or you feel like you've got a lot of intolerances. The next one is erratic sleep and trouble falling asleep. That is a really big one. So you'll tend to be more like tired and wired in the evening. Can be a sign that your metabolism's a little bit sluggish. So problems with sleep, especially if it's something that you've like checked all the other variables. So you've checked, magnesium, zinc, and recovery and hydration and all of that, and you're still having issues with sleep and being more alert in the PM. Overall exhaustion is probably one of the biggest ones. So especially if you're someone that has been dieting for like a long period of time and you're completely exhausted, even when you slightly bring your calories up, you're exhausted. That is a big sign that your metabolism can be a little bit beaten up. The next one was that tired and wired brain. So in the evening, you find that you're more often energetic at night than what you are in the morning, and that can be a big sign. Now you might have a lot of blood sugar highs and lows and a lot of cravings. And generally speaking, that's maybe because you're not eating enough as well at the moment, but that can be one big sign. So if you do get like blood glucose tests, and a lot of people, I've had it with clients before, the doctors will say that they're pre-diabetic, which I don't really get how that's a term, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but it just basically means that you've got elevated blood glucose levels, and that can be caused by so many other things, not just saying to someone, oh, you're pre-diabetic, and then scaring the shit out of them and saying that that's what's going to happen, when they haven't often even tested their insulin. They've just looked at blood glucose levels, often haven't even asked them what they've eaten, making sure they're fasted, everything like that when they're doing testing. Really strong signs of PMS is a big one for girls. So if you get really severe mood swings around a period, really tired, really lethargic, all of that can be another warning sign. And then we have low on hunger. So you're generally full even though you're not eating a lot of food. That's a big one. So someone that's got a slow metabolism, if they can live off 1,000 calories and they're not super hungry off that, someone else with a fast, healthy metabolism would be absolutely starving on that. So that is a big sign. I know for me personally, I've just started dieting and I've dropped my calories to just under 2,000 now a day, and I'm already hungry. So, for someone else, that would sound like a lot of food, but it all depends what metabolic position you're in. Another big one is loss of strength and motivation. So you're finding it hard to go to the gym. You're feeling like you're not enjoying your sessions. You're not getting stronger. Everything's kind of plateauing. That's going to be another big sign. Another big one is weight gain on low calories. So you might be on, like I said, under that kind of 1,500 mark and already training a lot and gaining weight on that. That's going to be a really big warning sign. Often you'll get a lot more fat gain in the midsection. This is what's been seen in a lot of studies, and also often the upper thighs and lower back region, so kind of that central gynoid fat region as well. And then the last big one is low libido and low sex drive. So that is a massive one that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's a really big one. I find especially with clients post-comp, will be sometimes too cautious with reverse dieting. And I had one of my male clients say to me once, he's like, I just can't get a boner. And I was like, well, trying not to, try to be the professional coach. But it was about 4 weeks post-comp and he still didn't have any sex drive. And so I just ramped up his fat intake in his diet. I just bumped up his calories a heap. I said, look, let's keep doing a little bit of cardio, but we'll ramp your calories up. And his sex drive came back within like a couple of weeks. Everything was back to normal. Even though it's nice being super lean, because that was his goal. He was saying to me, I want to stay really lean. That's why I wasn't going aggressive with his reverse diet. It wasn't a positive thing on his personal life. So obviously we had to then ram the calories up. And I think people need to understand that gaining a little bit of body fat to have like happiness in life is so much more important to having your sex drive, not being exhausted, enjoying your training sessions, not having erratic sleep, not having mood swings. Like, who wants to hang out with someone like that with all of these issues going on? Now, I just want to premise this by saying that a lot of these signs and symptoms can be other things going on in your body. They could be things like, more serious conditions. They could be glandular fever. They could be just severe premenstrual. It could be very hormonal. Hormones could be out of whack. They could be, more serious like chronic fatigue or adrenal fatigue. But a lot of the time that sort of stuff goes hand in hand with a sluggish metabolism. You don't often meet someone who's got severe adrenal fatigue and is on a very high caloric intake. And that's why I feel like that term is a lot of the time related to metabolism. So sometimes they just need to eat a bit more food and it starts to improve. So that's, I guess, what I want to say in this short episode about sluggish metabolism is make sure that you listen to the warning signs. And if you have been on such low caloric intakes for a period of time, sometimes it's just being okay with ripping off the Band-Aid and gaining a couple of kilos or even a kilo just to give yourself a bit more body fat. And I know that if you're not at your goal, sometimes that can be hard. So say, for example, you still feel like you've got body fat on you want to get rid of, but you know you've got all these warning signs and you're like stuck in this messed up position of going, well, I can't increase my calories because then I'm going to gain weight and then I'm going to be even fatter and then I'm going to have to work harder to get back to where I was. It doesn't work that way. So if you were just to be a bit more patient and go, okay, for the next even I love my clients giving me more time, but realistically, say you said to a coach, I'm okay with the next 3 to 6 months that we bring my calories up. And then, then we can go into a deficit. A coach is going to be much more willing to help you get to a good place than if you're saying, no, I don't want to gain any body fat at all, even though you're in this messed up spot and they really can't get you out of it. So a good coach will say to you, no, this is how it's going to go. Unfortunately, this is the reality. And let's stop valuing your self-worth on body fat for a start. It doesn't mean that we're not going to get there. It just means that we're going to push that goal out a little bit to do it in a healthy fashion. And that's what someone who genuinely cares about you will do. A coach that maybe doesn't care as much and more cares about money will just go, yep, let's do it. We can just diet you harder. We can just throw more cardio in. We can just do more, basically until you explode and start hating even stepping foot in the gym. And that's where you don't want to end up. So there's a few little ways and things that you can do to help boost your metabolism. And I don't believe in the term metabolic boosting foods. It's a load of shit. It's more just eat more food is a big one that people are a little bit scared to talk about. But there are many ways of boosting your metabolism, but it is going to take time. And I think that one of the biggest mistakes people make is sometimes increasing them too fast or completely stopping what they're doing. So they might stop exercising and start eating more food. That's not what we want. It's about a slow process. So the key is to take small steps and monitor the response and not rush the process. So some of my key things, and I'm going to talk about some of the ways you can cause a slow down your metabolism, and ways that you can improve your metabolic rate. So I'm going to list off a few things that if you had that 15 above and then you also tick some of these boxes, it might be some things in your lifestyle you want to change. So the top things that I believe are ways of slowing down your metabolism are smoking has definitely been proven, high alcohol intake, a low protein diet, skipping meals, so only maybe eating once or twice a day, especially with females, that's been shown, doing excessive cardio, especially moderate to low intensity, eating a low caloric intake for long periods of time, a lot of binge eating or yo-yo dieting on and off, a lot of high stress and high cortisol being produced within your life and not managing that, a very low water intake, a very low fiber intake and poor digestive system, a lack of lean tissue, so muscle mass, so not having enough muscle, maybe not resistance training enough, you're just doing cardio, lack of sleep, and lack of daily activity or maybe sedentary or doing the opposite and overtraining. So there's some of the biggest things that can slow down your metabolism. And now if you want to write some of these ones down, these are the biggest ways to improve your metabolic rate. All right, so increase resistance training volume is a big one. Increase lean muscle mass, so try to build some muscle mass when you're reverse dieting, and then your metabolism is going to be more efficient position. Eat more frequently. You don't have to eat 6-7 small meals a day, but anywhere kind of in that 3 to 5 range has been proven with adequate protein intake to have very good results. Get adequate sleep and improve your sleep habits. Improve cortisol and reduce stress as much as you can in your life. Prevent overtraining and ensure you have training breaks, deloads, all of these sort of things structured into your sessions. And include then also diet breaks and refeeds when dieting. That's a really, really big one. So as much as we want to deload training, we also often need to deload diet, which is something that people forget about. And then if you don't know what diet breaks are or refeeds, then comment on this podcast and I'll run through that in another one. Now, cardio, the preferred method of choice is HIIT for improving your metabolism. But if you're going to do it, keep it really, really short and intense. You can also beat yourself up by doing too much HIIT training. So you just need to be a little bit mindful there. And these are all very general advice. You need to make sure that you figure out what's specific for you. Next one, increase your caloric intake. So that's a big one. You need to bring your calories up. Eating the right foods to aid your digestive system. Now, I'm not going to say eat X, Y, and Z to help your stomach. I don't know what foods you digest well, but I'm saying try to listen to your body and determine what foods you feel like you digest well or you're a little bit more intolerant to. For me, for example, I tend to follow a pretty low FODMAP diet, and I found over the years that works for me very well. Eating a fiber-rich diet, and again, fiber is going to be individual, but the guidelines in Australia recommend that women eat at least 25 milligrams a day. Guys, I think it's 35. So that's what they're saying as the base, and then you can see how your digestive system goes on that. The last one is nutrient timing of food and meals. So just being more efficient with the times of day that you consume carbohydrates, having protein across all meals, and just sort of balancing your fats out as well is a big one. And making sure that you're intaking carbohydrates pre and post workout to help boost your metabolism as well, so that your body's not in a state of starvation when you finish training, that you're actually refeeding the body and, you're basically like putting fuel in the fire. If you're not feeding it, that fire is going to burn out. That's your metabolism burning out. So they're all factors that I think are really essential for you to focus on and also be very patient with in terms of metabolism. But yes, if you have any more questions about this topic, I will definitely go into like reverse dieting in more depth, the ways that I do it, the different theories and methods that there are out there. And again, a lot of the metabolism stuff, like there's not a massive amount of research on it in terms of like journal articles and studies. And the reason being with that is that it's a topic that there is so many variables, and if you try to quantitate that in a human study, it's going to be very difficult. So when you're reading research or reading papers, just be a little mindful of that, in the sense that there's going to be a lot of variables that they can't control. And that's the same with why I like working with people in this position on a weekly basis, basically, like in my programs, because your metabolism will change. It'll adapt. So every week, even every 2 weeks, checking in and just seeing where you're at and then making changes based on that. And that's why you can't really give out a generic plan for, a reverse diet or how to boost someone's metabolism. And you can create systems, sure, you can create things that have worked in the past, but it's very, very difficult to give off a generic plan. I have created systems in my breakthrough program, which I think are amazing, and they basically allow the clients to help boost their metabolism and get them to understand, when we increase, when we don't increase, when we do certain things, and have them be accountable to themselves as well as the coaches. And there is definitely ways of doing it, but the biggest recommendation that I can say to you is don't fear a little bit of body fat. The people that are around you don't love you because you're that % body fat. They're not going to care if you're 2 or 3% more for a couple of months, if that means the longer term goal of getting your health on track, being a happier person, having a bigger sex drive, getting more sleep, feeling more energetic, training better, being stronger. You have to outweigh all of the pros that can come from giving yourself a break from dieting, and then weigh that up with the cons from being in this position where you're stuck and don't know where to go. And so I think that's a massive thing that's overlooked, is pros and cons of having a period where you gain a little body fat versus the con of sitting in this messed up metabolic position. So I hope that kind of resonates with you guys in terms of metabolism. And yeah, just like be kind to yourself. Like I've had 3 years where I've increased my body fat and not been so stressed about it. My training's been amazing. I've gotten stronger. I've gotten fitter. I've grown muscle where I never had muscle before. So I think that comes down to, you know, self-love and body image as well, and what you value your self-worth on. And like I'm in the health and fitness industry where so many people value how professional they are or how successful they are on their body fat, which is completely retarded because I'm a successful coach and that is not what I value my self-worth on. I value my self-worth on getting my clients results. I care more about my clients than about myself, and I know that people don't judge me based on what I'm doing. If I choose to gain body fat for X, Y, and Z reasons to improve my hormones, improve my strength, do all these things for a couple of years, then that has no opinion or no influence on what I'm doing with my clients. I'm not saying to my clients, well, you all need to gain body fat because that's what I'm doing. No, I've had clients who've competed lately. I've had challenges, all of these things that are body fat driven. So it just comes down to like what your goal is. And unfortunately, you know, 80% of the time, probably more, people come to me because they want to lose body fat. And that's not unfortunately, it's my industry, it's my job. But the thing about it is that often I would say 50% of that 80% that come to me are in a position where they shouldn't be trying to lose body fat. They should be focusing on fixing their metabolism, fixing their mindset, fixing all these things first. And that's why I have to turn away a lot of people or give them the harsh truth. And sometimes people will say, I really respect your opinion and I thank you for saying that, and like, let's do it, which is what I love. And they're the clients I want to work with that are open to doing certain things and improving their health for the long term. But the ones that say, oh no, I just want to focus on like dropping 5 kilos in the next 4 weeks, but I'm already not eating anything and I'm already training 10 times a week. And I'm just like, you are not my client. So it's got to come back to ethics and morals as well, and what I want out of my clients, which means their long-term health is the most important thing for me, as well as getting them to their short-term goals, but setting realistic dates around that. So just be a little bit mindful of those sort of things when you are working with a coach as well, that they're really, really looking after the bigger picture. They're not just looking at getting you to that short-term goal, because what's going to happen once you get there, and let's say you're now eating 900 calories a day to be there, and you know that's not, like, you're not going to be a long-term client for that person. You're not going to be someone that sticks around because you don't really respect the fact that they let you do that, if you have, you know, half a brain on you about diet and metabolism and everything. And so I'll leave you with that, guys. I'm going to be having some special guests back on again this week, but I did want to jump on and just get some podcasts done myself, because I feel like I've got so much going on in my brain that I need to get it out. And I thank you so much again for being a part of it, and I'll chat to you soon. Thank you for listening to another episode of Break Through the Bullshit. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would love it if you could leave a review on iTunes. Let me know, comment what you'd love to see more of, and be sure you've also subscribed on YouTube and iTunes for updates. And if you'd like more info, then you can also add the Team Round Support Facebook page, which is available to access for all of you, and you just simply need to search for it on Facebook.